Hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from a news hub at Desawe Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Also on 3news.com. I am Alfred Ocansey.
My name is Beatrice.
This evening here on Hot Edition, the Electoral Commission says provisional voters register is ready for pickup by political parties. Main opposition NDC has already taken delivery of its copies. But ahead of the exhibition exercise, the voters register tomorrow. The Election Security Task Force is warning they will deal with political actors who would foment trouble.
Meanwhile, NDC Chairman Johnson Asiedun Katia says it is not the responsibility of the party to call its supporters to order when there is violence.
And this is your Election Command Center. Bring you a lot more of elections and matters arising ahead of election 2024. 110 days to December 7. This is your Election Command Center. Also, the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, to call off 49-day strike tomorrow following an agreement between government and aggrieved members. These plus the latest in business and sport for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes.
For now, though, Grace Hamwajiman is here with a summary of the news. Grace, what do you have?
Beatrice, let's begin with that good news from CTAG, because CTAG has agreed to call off a strike tomorrow following an agreement between government and aggrieved members. Government has also agreed to pay their July and August salaries at the end of the month. CTAG has been on strike for 7 weeks, demanding conclusion on their conditions of service. After more than 3 hours of meeting, the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafo-Ewa, expressed government's commitment to resolve the strike. Away from that, renal disease patients at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital have served notice to picket on Wednesday, August 21, following government inability to provide consumables for dialysis sessions for the past 3 weeks. President of the renal disease patients, Kojo Ahinkra, said the system has failed them. It's been 3 weeks since the closure of the unit to OPD renal patients due to shortage of consumables. More than 300 renal disease patients dialyzed at the center, and its constant closure is making life unbearable. And all security services in the Upper East region have committed themselves towards ensuring a violence-free general election. According to leadership, their men are fully resourced mentally and physically to protect life and property before, during, and after the elections. As part of the preparation towards the election operations, all the security services have come together to show unity of purpose by marching for peace for residents to emulate. That's it for the news summaries.
Thank you very much, Grace Hamwajiman. Let's bring you the details of our stories now. And the Electoral Commission says that the data containing the provisional voters register is ready for pickup by political parties. It also says that already the main opposition, National Democratic Congress, has taken delivery of its copies. This comes less than 24 hours to the commencement of the exhibition of the provisional register by the Electoral Management Body. Now, the NDC had accused the EC of deliberately delaying the release of the electoral roll in violation of the law. But the Deputy Commissioner in charge of Electoral Services, Dr. Asari Bosman, denied the accusations, maintaining that the Commission was within the time. He was speaking at a news conference to update the public on the Commission's preparedness for the exercise from tomorrow.
The registers are ready. One of the parties has come for it. The others, our team is available to give it to them. So we don't think there is any problem in that regard. And as I stated, in the CI, the law allows the Commission to make the register available no later than 3 months after the compilation. And we did the register. We finished the main limited registration on May 29th. 3 months after May 29th will be August 28th. And we also did the mop-up. We finished the mop-up 10th August. So 3 months after, within that 3 months, is it November or August, September, October. So the Commission is well within the law, but we have strived to ensure that the parties get it in advance. So as I said, the registers are ready. One of the main parties has collected the register. I know the others are around. The team is also giving it to them. Somebody said the Commission is registering people. I know it's not something you believe, anytime the commission is undertaking a registration exercise, we do it with the political parties. So it's not possible. It cannot happen that the commission will register people without the political party. So we expect the media to treat those allegations, for them to even use the word illegality. It's just unacceptable. So we think that the media must treat the group with the contempt that it deserves. They don't seem to be a credible group, because if they are indeed credible, you write to the commission for some of these details.
And you heard that Dr. Bosman Asare, he's in charge of corporate services at the Electoral Commission. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, has also cautioned political parties who may be aggrieved by the processes to resort to due process. He says that the Election Security Task Force will not tolerate any political act that has the tendency to mar the electoral processes and the peace of the country.
Going forward, in terms of the voter register exhibition that we are working on starting from tomorrow, we want to give the assurance that across the 38,622 polling stations, we are deploying at all the places, and we have rapid response team to go and also manage any situation with de-escalation mindset, so that at the end of the day, with the 7 to 8 days exercise that we are going to have, it will be successful, it will be peaceful, and it will add something positive to all the positives we have achieved as a country for ourselves and for the African continent. We want to use this to urge all the stakeholders, especially the political parties, that all the issues, all the concerns that they may have in the course of this part of the process, they should ensure that we use due process of engagement of within the law to handle every situation. We don't want to see any situation where anybody will make an attempt to take the law into his or her own hands. If that happens, we will work within the law to deal with the situation. And we ask the good people of this country to support us in this regard, because we will not allow any individual or group of individuals to do anything that affect the sanctity of the peace, security, law, and order of this country. Because we say it's time without number. Ghana, and this Ghana is the only place that we have. It's the only place we can walk and with our chest out, because that's where we belong.
And you heard that the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare. Let's get an update from the opposition NDC. Deputy General Secretary Mustafa Gbande joins us live on the line. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
The EC managed to deliver the provisional register today. The exhibition comes up tomorrow. It's better late than never, they say, isn't it?
That's clear act of incompetence, lack of preparedness, and a sense of responsibility towards the agency of processes leading to elections. The Electoral Commission should have been in the position to respect the law, respect the timelines of the law, in order to take away all issues of suspicion, all issues of grievances. But unfortunately, the Commission is not adhering to that. Now, what is very unfortunate is that the Electoral Commission, unknown to other political parties, released an uncompleted provisional register to the MPP. But we know, and they also know, that we have an accurate database of the register and all other registrations that we have done, including the mop-up. But what they gave to the MPP will only be for the purposes of profiling and identification. And so they realized that if they issued any register to political parties, because they didn't include the data of the mop-up, they will be finding themselves wanted. So that is how come the Electoral Commission have delayed and failed to provide a provisional register to political parties on time. Indeed, I have listened to the Inspector General of Police. It's important and it's a clear call for all political parties to eschew violence and also stay within the rules of the game. But if there will be anybody that will give tendencies and indicators of violence or indicators that will lead to altercation, it is the lack of consistency of the Electoral Commission. Even for violating the law in the first place, it's enough ground to raise a lot of suspicion, which have a tendency to affect the smoothness of the exhibition exercise that is ongoing. In fact, 2 hours ago, we have taken delivery of provisional registers finally. Our team are currently analyzing those provisional registers because 2 days ago or 3 days ago, the Electoral Commission wrote to the original directors that there were discrepancies in some list, I think the special voting list, detailing that some names have was deleted from the list. And so original directors should recapture those data and brought back to Accra. We hope that in all of these gerrymandering and deaf ears to what is law of the Electoral Commission itself, leading to its violation, they have not deleted or tampered with the credibility of the data that we have. If that is the case, the NDC should not hold his hands at the back because the IGP wants a peaceful process. If citizens queue in line, wrote their names, hoping that the only window for a change of government is through election, only to go to exhibition center or voting center and realize that his or her name have been deleted without justifiable basis. That is chaotic, that is disastrous, and that is what brings or undermines the peace the IGP is calling for. So the NDC gives the general public and the Ghana Police Service the needed assurance that we will cooperate at all times to ensure the enforcement of law and order.
So, Mr. Bante, let me take you to the last point which you just made, data deleted. You're just also telling us that the EC has asked regional directors to bring or to correct that mistake, as it were, and ensure that it reflects in whichever central data the EC might have in Accra. So that should solve your problem. Why are you issuing threats ahead of time?
Well, that should only tell you that there's a problem at the Electoral Commission.
It has identified the problem and is dealing with it.
Why do you give one political party provisional registers when other political parties do not have?
That was
so
an
when
issue.
we say every day that the Electoral Commission is in bed with the MPP to orchestrate some sort of gerrymandering and maneuvering of the election, these are some of the traces.
Mr. Gbande, if you would permit me, you're mixing two issues. So we didn't finish dealing with the data you're alleging has been deleted. But again, you also mentioned that the EC has asked regional directors to correct that error and ensure that it reflects in the central data the commission has. So I'm saying that if EC has gone ahead to do all of these, why are you still issuing threats ahead of time?
I'm just saying that I hope now that we have gotten into issues of discrepancies, because you recall that when the Electoral Commission was prepared to publish even data or registered figures of the limited registration exercise, when they brought it to IPAC, all the data was mixed up. So I'm just saying that we have a database intact. I only hope that some names have not been deleted. And I only hope that the combined effect of illegally issuing provisional register to one political party and failing to comply with the timelines of the laws of the Electoral Commission have not led to some names missing prior to exhibition and during the exhibition exercise.
You're alleging that the EC gave part of the results or the provisional register, as it were, to the MPP. When was that done?
They gave them those registers at our blind side. But you see,
how did you get to know that this is what has happened?
We are aware. We know We know. Let the Electoral Commission respond that they haven't done that, and we'll put evidence out. As we speak, the MPP is having provisional register, but that register can only be used for the purposes of identifying potential voters who are either NDC or MPP. Complete illegality, but there's no cause for alarm. I'm just saying that it's a breach of the law. Failing to give provisional register in accordance with Electoral Commission's own law undermines their ability to give assurance that they are doing the right thing. And I'm only saying that my fear is that in all of these combined effect of their delay, failure to abide by their own law, issuing illegal provisional registers to the MPP should not lead to names being deleted illegally from the register. We may be failing the IGP if that is the case.
Again, you talked about discrepancies and the EC admitting that there were some discrepancies. Is that not the reason we were having a conversation about the need for the NDC to be a little bit patient with the EC so that whichever provisional register you've finally got would reflect the actual register without discrepancies?
Impatience is not an illegality. The Electoral Commission is clothed with all the responsibility to rather issue and work within time frames. My sister, the Electoral Commission is not an opaque body. It's a body well regimented by law, and that all stakeholders within the law and the framework must act within the timeline. That is the only way you can curb suspicion of bias, suspicion of manipulation, and in fact, even when you have made genuine mistakes, such genuine mistakes would have been deemed to be mistakes because you are acting within the framework of the law. But when you have a commission that works contrary to its own law, the commission does not respect its own rules. The commission does not have even what it calls decency of engagement with stakeholders. It is troubling. And so I'm only saying this at the back of the call of the IGP, cautioning political parties to use some medium to resolve their grievances. And I'm saying that we will not hang our hands at the back if we find out that names of people who have registered and they are holding evidence that they are registered have been deleted. Because the Electoral Commission, and I'm saying it on authority, have given illegal provisional registers to the MPP, and they are doing profiling in their various polling stations. We are aware, and they know they have done it.
That's something we cannot independently verify. But let me ask you my last question, though. You talked about your officers scrutinizing this provisional register that you've been given. Would you say that the time is enough ahead of tomorrow? You have less than 24 hours.
That is the challenge the Electoral Commission have put all of us into. That is why the law required the Commission to have given us provisional register long time enough before exhibition. Tomorrow is exhibition day, and you are giving us registers 2 hours from 2 hours ago. So clearly there is something that is not adding up. So when you have the IGP, the Peace Council, the media calling for a peaceful process, compliance with peace pacts, you should know that you have a commission in place which have the appetite to do what is wrong, to do what is affront to the law, to violate its own law without recourse to other political parties, except to say that they favor the MPP. And that is why I'm tightening issues of illegal provisional register finding itself at the corridors of the MPP without other political parties having. So
we'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Bande.
Well, let's stay a bit further on matters relating to the NDC. Its chair, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, says that it is not the responsibility of the NDC to call its supporters to order and peace when there is violence. He says the Peace Council should rather do that. The comment comes as many call on political parties to commit to peace. But in an interview with Beatrice, Johnson Esiedun Ketia said he would not do that. Let's take a listen to him.
How is the party preparing for the launch of your manifesto just this coming Saturday?
So far, so good.
So far, so good. I want to refer you to a comment you made earlier that the NDC is not going to be part of any peace pact.
What is the purpose of signing a peace pact if it is not to guarantee peace? But the foundation for peace has not been laid properly. There is rule of law, and that those who misconduct themselves outside the law will be dealt with. And that is what guarantees the peace. But you have a situation where we have gone through this cycle before, and any law that does not come with sanctions is less a piece of advice.
Chairman, you do not think that it is the responsibility of a big opposition party like the NDC to ensure that you're committed to peace?
It is not about the commitment. If violence is brewing and you go to just say that, oh, I'm signing a piece of paper that will guarantee peace, you will never get peace. And we made this point before the 2020 elections. The 2020 election turned out to be the most violent elections in the history of this country. So if we are not learning from our own history, we are bound to repeat it. So we are saying that let us work to remove the things that will generate violence. Then we don't even need to sign a document.
But that involves all the political parties, including yourself.
It involves government and the state institutions. The Peace Council has the capacity to engage these institutions to ensure that they will do what will guarantee peace. But if you condone all the wrong things that are happening, and you know the result is that there is going to be explosion, and you are calling on me as Ketia to sign a document, and you think that will guarantee peace. Let me ask them, the one I signed 4 years ago, they did guarantee peace in the 2020 election. 8 people were killed.
Peace Council is denying these things.
After that, so if Peace Council says that 8 people were not killed.
That's not what Peace Council is saying. Peace Council is saying it has been engaging political parties, including yourselves. There are discussions you've done, but you're not communicating to your people.
We are saying that go and talk to the law enforcement agencies. Let our people hear that the people who were killed in Techiman, the people who were killed in Accra, the people who were maimed in Ayawaso West Wogon, they are here. They are being prosecuted for wrongdoing. So it becomes a yardstick that if you approach any election and you engage in violent conduct, there are consequences for you. If that does not happen, and you say that your focus is just to engage the leadership, it will undermine our leadership as well, because if I deploy people to go and work peacefully at the polling station to ensure peaceful election, and some of them get killed, some of them got maimed, I maintain they are cool, advise them that there will be consequences. So that next time when you are going, nobody will have the audacity to do that. And you have a president of the republic and the government in place, together with all these peace institutions. They keep quiet and nothing has happened for 4 years. If you are sending the same people to go to the same theater, and you say that we in the party leadership have gone to sign a document, so that is a guarantee.
So you can communicate the information to your grassroots.
That when they come there and they deploy soldiers, police to shoot at them, the document will protect them.
As Johnson Ketia, who is the national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, there, but Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, set to call off a strike after reaching an agreement with government over conditions of service and other matters that they've been on strike on over the last 7 weeks. Tonight, members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, from what we do know now, this agreement has received some favorable responses from the council members. The government has also agreed to pay the July and August salaries of the tutors despite they abandoning their work for the past 2 months. The deal was reached after a crisis meeting convened earlier today by the Employment and Labour Relations Minister. CTAG members have been on a nationwide strike since June 14 over the government's failure to implement the National Labour Commission's arbitrary awards and negotiation on improved conditions of service. Industrial action led to a complete halt in academic activities at all 48 colleges of education across the country. The Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafwewa, after the marathon meeting, expressed government's commitment to resolving the strike action that has been on for over 2 months now.
We have engaged in negotiations with reps of CTAG, and I'm happy to inform the general public that we have made very significant progress, and I want to believe that from here it is most likely that after tomorrow the teachers will return to school after they have had consultations with their council issue. I want to take this opportunity to urge members of CTAG to hold their council meeting as early as possible so that we'll have a definite position within the shortest possible time. Let me also take this opportunity to plead with our students who perhaps may have gone home as a result of the strike action to also hurry up and return back to school so that academic work can resume. Prinkov and CTAG have been tasked to work together to make sure that the hours lost are made up within a very short time so that it will not affect the next academic year. So this is where we've gotten to.
Oh, so that's the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations Minister there. That's the trustee from CTAG, Maxwell Boni, pledged the commitment of CTAG members to call off their strike by close of day tomorrow, August 20. He was also elated about government's decision to pay their July and August salaries and resolved to meet with the Principal College of Education also for a new academic calendar to cover up for the lost time.
I said earlier, yes, government has agreed, and we are in August. So at the end of August, that of July will be paid together with that of August. And we have also subsequently made that commitment that once that will be done, then, of course, we need to go back to do our work. Yeah, I said we'll consult with council with what we have seen. And I think we are here because council sent us, and they have outlined the issues, so all the issues have been resolved, and therefore we'll do the needful, talk to council, and then we'll call off the strike.
So that's the trustee of the College of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG there. But let's go on to the telephone now, and labor expert, international repute, Austin Game, who's been following this for the past almost 9 weeks now, is joining us on the telephone. So Game, I appreciate your time. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Thank you.
Now, over the last 9 weeks, we've been having conversations on this matter. Now, there's some level of certainty that CTAG will call off their strike tomorrow because, according to the minister, he has already appended his signature to signify the fact that government is committed to resolving the matters of CTAG. Some refreshing development for you, is it not?
Yes, I want to congratulate all of them. That after all, this matter can be resolved, and it has been resolved. I was briefed this morning at the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission that the matter had been resolved, and I was so pleased. So it's a happy story for all of us.
I recall that the last time there was a talk of an agreement and also the signing, the Education Ministry signed. All other parties signed except the Finance Ministry and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. That's why the decision to call off the strikes stalled for another 1 month. So what are expectations this time around from these two major institutions? Because if the Finance Ministry doesn't sign, obviously there's no guarantee for payment.
Well, I'm hoping that they are right. I understand their representative was present at the meeting. And so definitely there must be some commitment on the part of all of them. Hence, that agreement to go and consult and have the matter resolved. Look, I know the CITAC people, if they are unsure, they will never call this strike off. So with them openly announcing that they were going to consult and have them issues, called the strike called off, means they have seen some commitment, a high-level commitment on the part of the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations and other players in the field. Hence, the commitment to go back to work.
This may just be, and I use the conditional word of may just be one of many strikes that government may have saw, because already the NAGRAT Coalition of Concerned Teachers, they've given an indication of certain issues that they expect resolved by the end of the month. For instance, there's allowances given to teachers who accept postings to rural or hard-to-reach communities, their laptops and so on. What should be, after this with CITAC, what should be the concentration of the Ministry of Labor and the Education Ministry to ensure that we don't have another strike on our hands in the sector?
Well, it's about being proactive. Look, I have said time and number that the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations is the People and Culture Ministry, and therefore is the coordinating, the senior minister, if you want to call it so. In a serious country, Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations, call it labor, is the most pivotal ministry. And you can't joke about it because it's about people and the culture of the people. And it's about designing policies that will withstand, the pressures that will come, and also ensure that people abide by the rules of how you engage. We don't have that culture in Ghana here. We don't give the Ministry of Labor that kind of superiority. Well, Ministry of Finance must take a certain instruction from Ministry of Labor. Look, when I was in the ministry, the high-level person like Kwame Pipra, who was the Minister of Finance at the time, he would come over to our ministry because I was generally in charge of the labor relations aspect of the business. We ensure that we resolve matters proactively. I meet Secretary General of Labor in various places, both in his house, in my house, and various other places we engage. We don't allow anything to stay, to fizzle out in this kind of situation. That was how Jerry Rawlings was taking things serious. The other details, because it's cabinet matters, I will not talk about it. But all I want to say is that it is very crucial that proactivity is not seen as a figure of speech. It's a verbal thing. It's verb. It must be done and done. And that is.
Hello, Mr. Kame. Hello. Unfortunately, I lost Osingam on the telephone. We tried to raise him to conclude on the point that he was making, but the Education Minister, Dr. Alfred, lauded CITAC for agreeing to resolve this prolonged strike earlier today.
I'm saying great progress has been made.
What are these progress?
I'm very happy. I want you to hear from CITAC.
But you're the Minister of Education.
I'm the Minister of Education. I respect CITAC so much that in the room we decided that they are the ones who give you the details. So I want to leave it to them. These are my colleagues. I'm a teacher. They are teachers. So we are colleagues. And I'm glad we've made progress. But in the room, we decided that we allow them to tell the story. Because it's more definitive when it's come from them than from me.
So that's Education Minister Dr. Yase Dichum there, talking about CITAC themselves, spelling out the details of this agreement. Ms. Gama, you were on a point before I lost you briefly.
Yes, I was saying that the Minister of Labor of any country is known as the super ministry around which everything revolves, the fulcrum around which everything revolves. And if you don't see it like that, they'll always run into problems. And it is important that every minister So long as you have people working with you and under you, you must learn the art and science of how to use managerial mediation, facilitation processes to resolve matters without adversarial postures like we do in Africa here, and in Ghana no exception. Prime ministers are seen as if they are king gods. They are not. They are servants of the people. And they must learn the art and science of how to resolve labor-related matters and all other matters, for that matter. I think Ghana has come a long way. By now, we should not be facing. They must learn to be proactive, and where they are in doubt, they should consult and look for experts to help them, or go to the Labour Commission. If they cannot, they will farm it out to experts to help them resolve it. That's how it is.
So, Gama, I do appreciate your time on this matter. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Austin Gama is a labor expert joining us with his thoughts on this. And we're keeping an eye on how things will play out tomorrow, especially with this assurance by CTAG that they will call off this almost 9 weeks strike, which has unfortunately led to the halt of activities at the various teachers and educational workers union as well, also giving indication that they may have no option than to also lay down their tools in the coming months if nothing is done to address the concerns that they have. So keep an eye on that as well. But away from the education sector, the renal disease patients at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital have served notice to picket at the renal center on Wednesday, August 21, following the government's inability to provide consumables for dialysis sessions for the past 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks since the closure of the unit to OPD renal patients due to a shortage of consumables. More than 300 renal disease patients also, unfortunately, are unable to have their dialysis at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital because of the closure, and have had to resort to private options that are twice the amount they have to pay at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The center was expected to have been opened to patients on August 14 following a communique by the hospital management, but the situation remains same when the news team visited the place earlier today. Information gathered indicates that the consumables are the ports, but clearance processes from the Finance Ministry and the Ghana Revenue Authority is what is delaying the release of the containers at the ports. President of the renal disease patients, Kojo Ahenkra, who expressed disappointment in the development, said the system has failed them, and hence their decision to picket at the ministry and also the Kolebu Teaching Hospital renal unit on Wednesday.
My checks and my sources saying that there needs to be some waiver or whatever it might be. So those things have not been done. Documentation work, paperwork, all those things. And people are dying. People are dying. The point I'm trying to raise here is that I don't know if the ministry is aware of this, Ministry of Finance is aware of this, GRA is aware of this. Please, whatever documentation that they need to do, people are dying. They should see to it that the thing will be released to Kolebu to come and use it to save people's life. Very expensive. This morning, 800 Ghana cedis. Most of us are supposed to do twice or 3 times a week. Where are we going to find that money from? It's really the government sector or Kolebu that maybe is 490, which is not even cheap. Almost close to 500 per session. You need to do twice. That will make it 1,000 cedis. And now this place is closed. Moreover, not that the consumables are not in the country. They are in the country. Temahabo. GRA is saying what? The Ministry of Finance is saying what? What are they even saying? Do they even know the plight that we find out? The consumables are in the country. I can speak on authority that the consumables are in the country. That is why they were able to release the 20-footer container, which also contain part of the consumables that we need. But the main one that we need at the cabin where we are standing right now is the one at the port. Whatever be the case, we beg them. If not that by Wednesday, we are picketing here. All the renal dialysis patients are coming to sleep here. We'll bring our mattresses. We'll bring everything. So at least we are closer to Kolebu. When would that they take us to the mortuary?
It's a very sad account of the realities that these renal patients are faced with. But Mustafa Salifu speaks for the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. He's joining us on the telephone. Mustafa, I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Yeah, thank you, Alfred, for this opportunity.
First of all, what's the state of affairs with the consumables that this renal unit needs? That is, if that's the reason why this place has been closed for the past almost 3 weeks now?
Yes. The items were shipped into the country, and then we've been working to get them cleared from the port so that we can resume regular operations. But then, initially we had a problem with the shipping line, in terms of the documentation. So we had to get over that, and then when we finished with that, we worked very hard to get the 20-footer container out. But then once we got it, we thought we could go right into opening the service to the outpatient, because we had opened the service to the inpatient. But when we opened, we realized that we still need some of the items in the 40-footer container so that we can get all the consumables that we need so that we can start dialyzing the outpatients as well. So that is where we are now. Today, our chief has been at the ministries to work it out. He was able to get in touch with the Ministry of Finance, and they have given the assurance that they will speed up the process so that we get the container to Kolebu before the weekend so that we can resume normal operations.
Before the week ends, I want to hold you by this, that by end of week, this OPD of the renal unit will be opened, correct?
Exactly. I said when we talk about this thing, it's not that it's something far away. As we speak now, I have a relative who is also on the list doing dialysis. So it's in the interest of all of us to have these things out. And then thankfully, we are getting some positive assurances from the Ministry of Finance. And then they said they were going to engage GRA so that they facilitate the release of the container to the hospital so that all of us will have that peace of mind. Mr. Ahinkra is somebody who works closely with us here. Today, I've had several conversations with him over this. And then we are all in it together. We all want the items to be cleared from the port so that we can see to these patients. They are not far away. All of us are involved. It's in our interest for us to get this container to the hospital.
But, they have decided to pick it on Wednesday. That is before the Friday assurance you're giving.
Yes, we do engagement. We are hoping. I've just given Friday because once the ministry steps in, it's possible we can get it by Wednesday. But, sometimes these are variables that are actually not within the control of the hospital. So when you are doing your projections, you want to make allowances for some kind of hold-ups that may occur in the process.
So what word do you have for them? Because they are going to pick it on Wednesday, because this is costing them, and they are facing the hardship as a result of it. They have to resort to private facilities where they are charged almost twice the amount they have to pay at Kolebu.
In all our interactions and conversations, we have always been at pains to apologize to them, to tell them that this is it's not something that is done deliberately, but these are some of the things are outside our control. So they have exercised a lot of restraint for us. So we want to still ask them that they should let us engage, let us work together so that we can get these things out of the pot. It is the interest of all of us to have this, because after all, the dialysis patients are not any different. They are Ghanaians. They are our brothers and sisters. They are our grandmothers and then mothers. So we need to get this thing out, and then so that they can come to Kolebu and do it. In fact, they always say something that they can go elsewhere to go and have these dialysis done besides the cost. But when they do it at Kolebu, because of the level of experience and then our people take them through, because of the quality assurances that we have in there, they tell us that when they do it in Kolebu, they feel much, much better than when they do it elsewhere. So we want to assure them that they should let us work together so that we can get these containers out so that we can resume normal operations.
I see, but I want to establish this. Is the lack of the consumables the reason this renal unit has been closed over the last 3 weeks?
Exactly. So it's been the lack of the consumables. and these are things that we import from abroad, and then you have to work with the partners out there to get them over to you. And sometimes because they are not in our shoes, they sometimes don't do things as speedily as we want them to do it. So that is at the base of what we are going through now. I'm sure your reporters will tell you when the doctors and the nurses are just on hand, waiting to hear something so that they can start processing the outpatient for their dialysis as well. So that is the main problem. As soon as we get it, we'll be able to roll out the service to them.
Mr. Salifu, Beatrice here, and I'm going to talk about the cost of treating dialysis. And I'm referring to the promise that was made by the NHIA in June that some 2.3 million cedis had been dedicated to taking care of kidney patients, at least a program that was supposed to last for about 6 months. And we've had some of these patients telling us that they are still paying. Are you able to tell us the challenge the hospital is paying as regards giving these subsidies or financial support to them as promised us by the NHIA?
Thank you. I think that is a very good question. I want to state clearly that, yes, we have received payment from the National Health Insurance Authority in respect of the dialysis patients. And we're just about ruling that thing out when we realize this deficiency of the consumables in our stores. So we have to keep it on hold. But as soon as we resume normal operations, I've already had a discussion with Mr. Ahinkra that we will need to engage them for them to give us direction. As soon as we do, some may want us to give them credit, some may want the monies to be given to them. It is monies that have been paid in their name. So we will not have anything. We will need direction for them. We need to work together so that we see to the rollout of that program.
Did the NHIA delay in releasing the funds? Because you're looking at June. The promise was made in June, and now we are in August.
Yeah, there were some teething problems with the release of the funds, but later on it was released to rest. And then just when we prepared to engage and roll out, then this sort of issue also kicked in. That is the cause of the delay in providing them the service under that. But we are giving the assurance that as soon as we resume normal operations, we are going to engage them, and then they will give us direction on how they want us to treat those beneficiaries that are in their name.
Mr. Salifu, I want you to hold on because you just referred to Mr. Hinkra, who is the president of the Renal Patient Association, and he joins us live on the line. Mr. Hinkra, how do you react to the response from the PRO of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Mustafa Salifu?
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, Mustafa, even this morning, the challenge about the consumables, as we speak now, let me make it simple and brief. The consumables are in the country. As we speak, it's at the Tama port. There were supposed to be 2 containers. One was cleared around last week, but the second one has not been cleared. And I think there's another goods at the Aviance airport that also needs to be cleared. But I learned because of some waiver or whatever it might be, that is why this is clear. And it's just 3 weeks. People's lives are in danger. So the authorities trying to tell us that they cannot open the container for us to have some of the consumables to take care of patients.
So you don't...
It has arrived in this country. As we speak, it's at the Tama port.
Mr. Hinkra, are you saying you don't appreciate what Mr. Salifu is telling us?
No, I do appreciate, but I'm also raising my concern. I really do appreciate what Mustafa is saying. Yes, because like I said, I was with him this morning. We're just thinking through how this thing can get to us. My appeal is going to the authorities, the Minister of Finance, Minister of Health, and that of GRE. That is where the problem is. Because if the thing is at the Tama port, what is so difficult is that it cannot get to Kolebu for the consumables to be used. I really appreciate what Mustafa is saying. I mean, whatever they are doing, everything they are supposed to do to get the thing out. But the point is, they say paperwork, paper this, which is really costing lives.
That is why I'm turning my argument to. Mustafa knows. I've been coming to his office. What is the way forward? What are we doing? What is the way forward? And you could see that sometimes their hands are tight. Because if they don't have the consumables, they cannot work. And they've managed to get the consumables into the country. This time we've talked about tax waivers. Consumables for medical supply, once you get to it, should be cleared quickly so that it will take care of patients who are in this country when this HIV medication came, and some got rotten at the pot. Do we have to continue? So I agree with Mustafa and really appreciate the kind of communication they are having with us for some time now.
Let me ask you my last question before you go, and I'll get the final word from Mustafa Salifu, PR for the teaching hospital. Mustafa also just assured us that the OPD for the renal unit will be opened by close of the week. How do you take that news? And just asking you two questions in one: how you intend to pass on that information to your people who need these services urgently?
That is all that we are praying for. That maybe the unit to reopen so that the OPD can start our access to it. Passing information to our people. We are organized group. We have easily way of communicating with them that maybe on this day the consumables are in. So maybe immediately Kolebu give us the green light. We should start coming. We will go by our sessions as it's already been arranged at the unit for us. So we are just pleading that we beg them, whatever they need to do, they should do it so that we can get the consumables at the Kolebu stores so that we can start operation.
We ended here with you, Mr. Bafo Ahinkra, President of Renal Patients Association of Ghana. Thank you for speaking to us. Let me get the final word from you, Mustafa Salifu, PR for the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. We just heard Mr. Ahinkra there saying that sometimes he feels like your hands are tied. But what can you do beyond what you've done so far to ensure these are cleared from the port? You just heard him there, 3 weeks already.
Yes, there's been some engagement, but we are deepening the engagement with the authorities that can actually facilitate the clearing of the consumables from the ports. So we are deepening that so that as we are assuring before the weekend, then we'll have the items in Kolebu to resume normal operations.
And finally, before you go, are you able to give us any specific date when the OPD will be opened within the week?
Sometimes, as I indicated, some of the variables are not within the control. So that is why we usually, we anticipate that it may happen before the weekend, before Friday. But because some of the things are not under our control, we just want to say that before Friday, the items, we would have resumed full operations at the cabin or the outpatient services, as we usually put it.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Mustafa Salifu.
I just want to mention one thing. Sometimes we've seen things running in sections of the media saying that because of the closure, about 20 people have passed on. I engaged the renal dialysis team on that, and they're saying that they don't have that record. We don't have that record that 20 people have died because of this closure. So please, let us, before we put out some of these things, let us do our verification, and then before we put out such information. Yeah, we know it's not good to have the police services suspended, but when it closes and we want to put out any information, do kindly let us engage so that we can provide accurate information on whatever that is happening in the hospital.
Indeed. Let's verify information. Much. Mustafa Salifu, head of PR for the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, for speaking to us. Michael Ogbodu is standing by with the latest in business. Michael, take it over.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to the business segment here on Hot Edition. Coming up this night, analyst questions feasibility of Dr. Bawumia's flat tax policy, describing it as unsuitable for developing economies. I am Michael Ogbodu. I'll bring you details of this and more shortly. Please stay. Well, thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story. A professor of finance at the Gimpa Business School, Ebenezer Bugri Anafo, has cast doubts about the feasibility of Dr. Bawumia's flat tax promise. He argues that flat tax systems are unsustainable or unsuitable for developing economies which rely heavily on tax revenue for development. He warns that it could lead to significant revenue losses and increase borrowing.
That would mean that we are all going to be paying proportional tax. And that is not going to, what they call it, work. He needs to come clear as to whether the flat tax, is it income tax or import duties or whatever. There are so many taxes. Or he is going to make every tax in this country a flat rate or a flat tax. That is vague. But if it is even going to be income tax or whatever tax, I don't think that a developing country like Ghana, that is what we need. It's going to reduce our tax revenue, and we cannot get other sources of income to make up the difference. That will be very difficult. Right. So I think that we should do something that works for us than to come up with policies that we know that at the end of the day, we may not be able to implement it or it won't work in our interest.
So that was Professor of Finance at the Gimpa Business School, Ebenezer Bugrianafo, speaking there. Away from that, a former chief executive of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Dr. Kofi Mbia, has emphasized the agency for Ghana to tap into the vast potential of its marine resources. He advocates for the simultaneous development of the country's blue economy alongside its green economy, unlocking new avenues for job creation and alternative revenue streams. He made the call at the 2024 Shipping Conference series under the theme Blue Economy, Local Private Sector Participation in the Maritime Space.
So in recent times, we've been talking more about a blue economy. That makes us focus or direct our attention, if you like, to what the sea provides. And sometimes we are limited in thinking of what the sea provides in terms of the sea will give us fish, the sea will give us oil and gas. We can navigate on the oceans, but it's not enough. It is not for nothing that God created the sea and covered the earth with 2/3 of water, that is the seas, and 1/3 land. And therefore, even though we've been thinking about going green, we need also to be looking at going blue, so that we see what opportunities there are as far as the oceans are concerned.
So that was the former chief executive of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Dr. Kofi Mbia, speaking there. Meanwhile, executive secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, Samson Asakia Wingobit, has urged indigenous investors to take advantage of the blue economic opportunities and invest in the sector.
Since the inception of the Terminal 3, we are receiving more bigger vessels coming to us. Instead of them using normally pass to the Red Sea, to go to Lomé, to go to Benin, to go to Cotonou, to go to Ivory Coast, to go to Abidjan, to go to Nigeria and others. Those containers are now dropped in Ghana. Then we need vessels that will ship, that will can plow between, can take those containers and then send it to Nigerian port, send it to Benin port, send it to Ivory Coast port. That could have also bring money. So in this regard, we need more Ghanaians to go into investing in those areas. So what it means is that I think we have what we call the cabotage bill. Now it's a cabotage law with the Ghana Maritime Authority now. What that gives opportunity, certain jobs to the individual, to indigenous, including shipping agencies. So Ghanaians who are willing, please, I am prepared to advocate that, look, some of these opportunities that we are talking about, let us look for the indigenous, let us look for Ghanaians to be able to invest.
So that was Samson Asakia Wingobit. He is the Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. Now, finally, the current loan default rate in Ghana has reached alarming levels, with a staggering 20 to 24% of loans not being repaid. This has led to a cautious approach from banks, which are now lending at a slow pace. Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Association of Banks, John Ihua, says banks are eager to lend, but the current cost of borrowing makes it challenging for them to recover their investments, contributing to the rise in non-performing loans.
The default rate, as we see at the moment, is very high. You are talking about default rate of around 22-24%, which it should scare you.
So you're suggesting that
so we are studying
the growth of
environment.
29.5% last year, which has gone down to about 5.1% this year, which the central bank itself describes as sluggish, is not necessarily bad because the banks are still lending, but just at a slow pace.
It's not like the taps have been closed. It's the rate of growth that has slowed down, but it's a matter of time. And yes, it's a matter of time. Inflation is coming down. Hopefully, if that results in the central bank taking a second view of the policy rates and at the next meeting, then gradually interest rates come down. Because you see, we lend, and when we lend as banks, we want to be able to recover. The current lending, the cost of borrowing at the moment makes recovery difficult, and it contributes to heightened NPLs. So we as banks are interested in where the trend of inflation is moving.
So that was the CEO of the Ghana Association of Banks speaking to Pakwesi Asare. The full interview airs on Business Focus tomorrow, Tuesday, August 20, 2024 at 5 p.m. on TV3, bringing an end to the business segment here on Hot Edition. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next is Sports and Bill. So stand by to bring you the latest.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen. Starting off from African football in Swatreman and Samatex all got off to a great start in the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup, recording victories over the opponent. In Swatreman recorded a 3-0 win over Elect Sports, while Samatex recorded a 1-0 victory away in Douala against their opponents from Cameroon, that is Victoria Sports as well. Now, according to Nuhu Adams, who is a sports journalist and an African football expert, he believes that these victories have set up both Samatex and Swatreman to qualify to the next round of the qualifiers.
I think 3-0 is very good for a team like Swatreman. The second leg, they would need just little effort to make sure they advance. And they are lucky. Elect Sports are not playing at their home. They will play in their own day in Cameroon. So it becomes a neutral ground for Swatreman, and I believe they can go to Cameroon and get another victory. And Samatex did extremely well. I believed in them, but I didn't expect them to come back with a win from Cameroon against Victoria United. I was expecting at least a draw from them, but to dig deep and get a 1-0 victory is quite impressive. And having the second leg in Ghana at Accra Sports Stadium next week, I think it's a foregone conclusion for them. The two teams have at least a foot in the next round, and we will see how far things will go. It's likely Swatreman will face CS Constantine of Algeria. Then Samatex will also face Raja Casablanca. Raja went away to win 2-1. So with the second leg at their home, Raja is advancing to the next round. So we are looking forward to the next round, but I think the two teams will use the second leg as more of a preparation for the next round.
They will use the second legs as preparation for the next round, but the main goal is to get to the group stages of the CAF Confederation Cup and the CAF Champions League, just like Dreams FC and Mediama did last season. But Nuhu Adams believes this is going to be a tough task for both teams.
They have the chance of getting to the group stages, but the CAF Champions League and Confederation Cup is that every round becomes more difficult for you. So yes, prelims, you got relatively an equal team. So with a little bit of effort, you will be able to advance. The next round is going to be very tough. And going to Algeria or facing an Algerian side, we all know how these South Africans take the competition. And Raja Casablanca, we also know the sort of pedigree and caliber they possess. They have top quality players. Last season, they won the league, they won the Moroccan Cup. So with such a form, facing them in the next round would be very, very difficult. But the teams will have to believe themselves. They have to believe in their quality and then make sure they face these teams squarely. It's not going to be easy, but maybe after the first leg of the next round, we will be able to know whether Nswatreman or Samatex will have the chance to go to the group stages.
That was Nu Adams, a sports journalist and an African football expert. Now, earlier last week on Sunday, the whole of Ghana was placed on a standstill as the MPP read their manifesto. And of course, they did touch on some parts of sports. And here are some key highlights that were touched upon in sports. Now, according to Bawumia, the first one is established sports development fund. The second one, upgrade surfaces of football pitches to meet highest international standards. Continue the construction of astroturfs for every constituency to boost development of juvenile football talent. Stars an Operation Olympics Glory program. Supports revival of the Ghana Premier League and clubs to improve commercial viability and create jobs. Provide a bus for each GP or club. Build 6 5,000-seater capacity standard stadiums for new regions, and also promote school sports by establishing Ghana School Sports Secretariat to create more opportunities for young people in sports. Now, we spoke to veteran football journalist Alfred Akoto-Boafo, and he believes that the introduction of astroturfs would rather stifle the development of the juvenile football.
Here is the thing. There is no way we are developing local talents with astroturfs. It's not true. Why? Because the astroturfs deny access. Juvenile football, the most important thing in juvenile football for the children, those between the ages of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, is unfettered access to training grounds, to places where they can kick a football. At the moment, we complain about the Sakura pitches. That's fine. One, it is safe. It is sand. Most importantly, Bill, it is always open. The park is there. So the kids can play from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Nobody cares. But that is how we have always honed our skills. What happens to the astroturfs when they are built? The parks are locked. To be able to access the pitch, you are paying either 300 cedis, 400 cedis as a group. Where are the 7-year-olds, the 8-year-olds with their socks ball and their other balls going to find 300 cedis, 400 cedis to be able to play constantly when they want to, anytime they want to?
Also, Alfred Akoto-Boafo added that the setting up of the school sports secretariat might make some functional departments very, very redundant if that is done.
The National Sports Authority runs sports in this country. Now, what we needed to do, and we haven't done, is to find a closer way for the National Sports Authority and the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the Ghana Education Service and their sports direct and their sports unit to collaborate a lot more closely, because grassroots sports basically is school sports. There is no way that the two of them should be separated. So you don't need a Ghana School Sports Secretariat, because the Ministry of Youth and Sports has the National Sports Authority. The Ministry of Education has a sports directorate as well, which is specialized, which has people. So why not say we will strengthen that one and put them together rather than the setting up of a new body that will come and duplicate the roles or perhaps even render redundant, already functioning institutions. I felt it showed a certain lack of understanding. And that's always been the problem, Bill. You read these documents and the conclusion you always come to is this: these people just don't understand what will make our sports work. That is why our sports never works.
That was Alfred Akoto-Boafo, a seasoned journalist, also reacting to the statement of building 6 new 5,000 capacity seater stadiums for the new regions. Sadiq Adams, who is also a veteran sports journalist, believes that the government should rather focus on the old stadiums, which haven't been kept very well.
with respect to the stadia. I think we just go about borrowing money for the construction of this stadia without any proper planning for its sustainability. And so we put it up, we have the money available, we put it up, but then after 2-3 years, it comes back to, the same state, ground zero, because we do not have the funds and the plan to keep the stadium running. We are constructing 6 new stadia. What I wanted to hear from the Vice President, and I think that there are very good people around him who understand the situation with the 10 multipurpose sports complexes, that to me would have been the biggest infrastructural contribution to this country's sports since independence, but they have been left in the bush to rot. I didn't hear anything about it, and I would have wanted that the Vice President would have focused more on how we are going to complete the 10 multipurpose sports complexes, including the Azuma Nelson Sports Complex, the one in Axim, the one in Domahim Cove, and all the others that have been left in the bush to rot.
But one of the biggest talking points from Bawumia's manifesto was him stating that he will buy a bus for each Ghana Premier League clubs. That brought about a lot of talking points on social media. And reacting to that, Sadiq Adams states that those resources can be geared towards other things.
But you and I know that from following the Ghana Premier League and football in general, the provision of buses, I believe, would serve much more purpose if it is donated to the women's Premier League clubs. For the men's Premier League, I don't believe that what they need is to provide them with team buses. If we provide the right investments that will transform the entire league, we need to rejig the entire football system in terms of the Ghana Premier League. We need an investment, say a financial investment of $10 billion from governments, like it happened in Tanzania, it happened with the Premier League, it happened with South African League, it happened with the Brazilian League. And the government will say, this is our contribution for the transformation of the league. But before that, we would want you to reform before you receive this amount of money.
That was Sadiq Adams, the seasoned journalist in sports. That brings an end to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Beatrice. Beatrice is on standby with more.
Thank you very much, Billy Shan, for bringing us the latest in sports. And you're still here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Welcome to Campaign Trail. On Campaign Trail tonight, we continue with our conversation on that manifesto launch by the NPP yesterday. And you can call it ambitious, but the governing New Patriotic Party says that it delivered the much anticipated economic growth and jobs when a fresh mandate to lead the country come December 7. Now, the party on Sunday launched its manifesto, which it has touted as a manifesto of hope anchored on bold solutions. The NPP is promising jobs and prosperity. Let's hear the flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, on some of the measures he intends to introduce to propel economic growth.
Government tax revenue. We have to reform and refocus the Ghana Revenue Authority towards broadening the tax base. Estimates suggest revenues amounting to 13% of GDP, or some 150 billion Ghana cedis in 2023, are not collected because people are outside the tax net. Many individuals, businesses find our tax system cumbersome and confusing. We want a tax system that is easy to understand, easy to comply with, and easy to enforce, softer on the taxpayer, and that is not subject to so much discretion. The next MPP government will introduce a very simple, citizen-friendly and business-friendly flat tax system. This will be the first change in our tax system since independence. No government has thought about changing the tax system. But it is the MPP party that is saying it is time for a change in the tax system. To start the new tax system on a clean slate, my government will provide a tax amnesty, that is a complete exemption from the payment of taxes and the waiving of associated interest and penalties up to a certain year to individuals and businesses for failures to file taxes in previous years, so that everyone will start afresh on a clean slate.
And you heard the flag bearer of the governing NPP and current Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Let me run you through just a little bit more before we speak to the business community. And the NPP is also promising to control expenditure through amendment of Fiscal Responsibility Act to require that budgeted expenditure in any year does not exceed 105% of the previous year's tax revenue. The government also plans to lean towards leasing rather than purchasing of goods. Flat tax regime to be introduced, corporate tax and VAT regime to be simplified, abolish e-levy, no import duties on mobile phones. A bit on energy says commercial electricity rates to be cheaper or at same level as a residential rate. 2,000 megawatt of solar power to be provided. Let's speak to the president of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng. He joins us live on the phone. Good evening to you, Doc. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you.
So I'm sure you heard the vice president there, the flag bearer of the NPP, talking about flat rate in terms of taxes. And I know that this is an area that is quite sensitive for GUTA. Was the explanation satisfactory, or did it give you hope?
Okay, so what the flat rate system seeks to do is to simplify the tax system, make it more affordable, and so that compliance will be assured. And this is what we have been craving for all this time, that the taxes that we pay is too high and very cumbersome, especially with regards to VAT as it is structured now. It has three forms. There's no uniformity for that tax system. And so if we have to reform it to make it more simplified, then it is most welcome, yeah.
So it means that GUTA is satisfied with how the flag bearer explained in terms of implementation of some of the proposals, including this tax regime he talked about.
Yeah, because you see, Most of the things that he enumerated in the manifesto were some of our concerns, because, we sat down with all the political parties' manifesto committees and then put our 20-point agenda. If you recall, we were saying that we have 20-point agenda, and then most of them were taken from this. And so it makes us a bit relieved. What is left is implementation, if one assumes power. And that we treat these manifestos as a social contract with this. You remember that the other time we also said that we want to sign a memorandum of understanding or a pledge with all the political parties with regards to the manifestos that they will present. And so we are satisfied because most of our points are captured in there. If you see the amnesty being given to businesses in that manifesto, it's very welcome, because the taxes that we pay are such that it makes people default, because it's too high and very complex, and definitely one will fall into these defaults, and then you tend to owe so much to the state, where your business will be collapsed, especially some of the bills that you have to pay as a default penalty is too big to even collapse businesses. In that regard, then it is in good stead that a debt forgiveness should be given to us, so that it will translate into adding up to our capital for us to use it for expansion work. That's what he was saying, that when that is given to us, we should also create jobs. And we start on a cleaner sheet, because so many businesses want to do the right thing by filing correct information, but because you have wrong information in the past, it is always used against you. So it doesn't allow people to do the right thing. So it is in good state. Then you look at we talk about the flat rate. They say that they are going to harmonize the port charges to align with charges in the competing regional ports. That one is also very correct, because if you look at the charges that we pay, it's just too high as compared to our neighboring ports, which make their goods very competitive, and that Ghanaians go to Togo every day to go and buy goods. They are not going to buy these manufactured goods there. They don't have manufacturing hub in Togo. They also go and buy imported goods. So why is it that we import more goods, even more than Togo, but their prices is cheaper than us? Let people go and buy from them. So it makes it that. Then when we talk to access to affordable credit, it has been our problem all this time. And we even intended to establish Traders Bank. If you recall, we said that we want to establish, but it is not a core mandate or duty to establish bank. But out of frustration and the fact that access to affordable credit is difficult, that's what we had that intention. So for them to establish the SME bank, come and solve that problem for us. And then they have also established Women's Trade Empowerment Fund. That will go a long way to support the women in the informal sector. So in that regard, there are a lot of things to be happy with. Cross-border interoperability will also help boost cross-border trading activities. You see, that we'll be able to transfer money the same way we do with Momo, but this time it's international. We can do it in Togo, and Benin and all that. So you don't even put fiscal money when you are traveling and all that.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Dr. Joseph Obeng. He's the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA. Thank you so much for speaking to us. You're still here on Campaign Trail on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. There's a comment coming in from the former chair of PIAC, Stephen Mantiao, who says something that struck me as I listened to DMB, that's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia on Saturday. Oh, well, that's actually Sunday because he spoke yesterday. Ghana will have the lowest duty in West Africa, lower than that of Togo. Meanwhile, Togo is duty-free. So how will DMB achieve this feat? I mean, how? How is customs duty in Ghana going to be lower than that of a duty-free jurisdiction? Ghanaians look sharp. And yes, so that's the comment of Dr. Steve Mantiao. And before we go, the National Democratic Congress is announcing that the party shall officially launch its manifesto for the 2024 general election this weekend. That's on Saturday, 24th August. And that's it for Campaign Trail here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And that's it for Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice. I did this with Alfred Ocansey. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good evening and do enjoy the rest of our programs.